I would like to explore some questions relating to the destruction of physical evidence. And if any of these questions become too sensitive, let me know. We've been told, and according to documents, that orders were given to destroy Corporal Tillman's clothes after the incident, and to burn what was in the bag for security purposes, and that a soldier testified that he burned Corporal Tillman's uniform, socks, and gloves, and one armor plate, in which it appeared there was an indentation in the top right corner, and also burned a small notebook of Corporal Tillman. Now, I know that, Mr. Tillman, that your family has gathered a lot of evidence about the contradictions. When you looked at this matter relating to the destruction of evidence, do you have any comment as to why a medical doctor did not sign off on the destruction of the uniform?
No, sir. I don't know why he would. I don't know why that would be. I don't know why any of his uniform would be cut off, because they refer to it as a biohazard. Well, Pat was a biohazard, and they avoid mentioning who cut the uniform off him, who made that decision to cut the uniform off, because a lot of this narrative talking about how they gave him paddle marks. You know, he quote had paddle marks on his chest, and we had Dr. Buck's respected guy take a look at that stuff, and it was clearly bruises on his chest. And you've got these inconsistencies. Like, why would they want to cut his clothes off? What possible reason would you cut his clothes off when he did not have essentially from here back? I mean, he had a facial structure, and that was it. And he got there in 90 minutes after the firefight, and Pat was gone. And they tampered with his body. They cut his clothes off. They said that they tried to save him. Transferred to ICU. I mean, you can't leave paddle marks. It's a physical impossibility to leave paddle marks on somebody 90 minutes after the fact. And that's excluding the other statements saying they came in there and Pat was on the table and he was there with all his clothes on 30 minutes after the fact. So it's closer, you know, looking like 120 minutes where his body really wasn't touched. And you've got all this stuff that it just doesn't make any sense. You know, why would they cut it off? Why would they burn it? How a medical doctor would allow a bunch of sergeants to roll into his domain and have people taking his stuff off and burning it. And some of the emails are really strange, you know, like quietly burning it, you know, no one's watching, people looking behind their back. It's real weird.
When you were told that CPR was attempted, understanding the extent of your brother's injuries, what did you think about that?
We didn't know it was CPR. We didn't know they tried to perform CPR.
Well, okay, let me explain. We got the autopsy. It's on.
Could you speak close to the mic, please?
We received the autopsy about 5 months after Pat was killed, and on the autopsy it said that there were these 3.5 by 3/4 inch marks on his chest that were consistent with an attempt at defibrillation. And I thought that was bizarre because the autopsy also said that Pat had no brain due to trauma. So it perplexed us that they would try to resuscitate a man who had no brain. And I was under the impression that he had died and they deemed him dead immediately. So how could he even have paddle marks if he was received so late? So I had my daughter-in-law, Pat's wife, get the field hospital report, or FOIA the field hospital report. And we finally got it almost 9 months later, I guess. And I was absolutely shocked because the field hospital report doesn't say anything about defibrillation. It says CPR performed, transfer to ICU for continued CPR. And that was extremely strange because Pat was dead for 90 minutes before he got to the field hospital and he essentially had no head.